Okay, so I wanted to do a video of how to keep your Strat tremolo in tune, and mostly this is just going to be me talking about it. First of all, I don't have, specialized software, video recording equipment, or anything like that. So, just going to talk about a couple of products and what to do to lubricate the saddles and everything. Keep your guitar in tune. And I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't buy Stratocasters because they just don't stay in tune, or at least that's what they think. And they can. I've played some that really don't because they're just not set up correctly. And with, 60-year-old technology, there's something that has to be done to make it work correctly, especially for modern music, but to me, they're aesthetically beautiful guitars. I mean, I wouldn't want to play anything else. The shape, the feel, everything is how I'd want it. The placement of the pickups, Get a very defined sound from here to here, and very defined string pickup. It's less of a magnetic field, so it's a lot more direct, So for my playing style, even metal, I mean, it's what I play mostly, and people they don't play that sort of stuff on these guitars. I mean, look at Dave Murray, Yngwie, God. Tons of players. And they sound great. They can keep up with anything. In front of a stack, a cranked Marshall stack, it's not going to make a difference whether the body is, 12 pounds of mahogany or 3 pounds of ash. It's not going to really influence the sustain anymore. Unplugged, of course. But, that's a completely different video. So, what I do is, I would suggest watching Frudua TV on YouTube. Frudua TV is an Italian luthier who is very good at explaining, even though he has a very heavy accent, in explaining ways of improving the Strat tremolo design. How to cut the nut slots correctly, to get the best tuning stability, staggered tuners. He talks about all that. And staggered tuners are great, or locking tuners are great too, but this is, a stock Strat. No locking tuners, no locking nut, no really anything modified other than a couple of tweaks, but for the most part, it's a completely stock Strat. I mean, other than noiseless pickups and that kind of thing, but and a brass tremolo, but nothing crazy. This is just to add a little bit more sustain. I am a bedroom player anyway, so anyway. Okay, so there's a lot of things you can do to the vintage trem to make it stay in tune. And I mean, you can take a file and file away the inside of the string slots and make them longer. Like these have been elongated by Callahan. That's just how he does it. But these are great saddles, Callahan guitars. And you can use a little file to round off the string recesses where the string goes through the block into the guitar. Just to, so it's not a sharp angle that the string has to cross over. You know, so it's not, so it's rounded. It'll allow the string to pass a little more smoothly. For the reason Strats do not stay in tune is simply because the string doesn't end up in the same position that it was. It has to be able to slide smoothly over all string contact points, over all friction points, you know, which would be the nut. Mainly the nut is usually bad, or the tremolo, but the nut is usually worse. And I know that for a fact. But don't quote me on that. There's different issues that can arise. String trees. String trees are friction points, and they're used to keep the string at a certain break angle over the nut to keep the string from buzzing and rattling inside the slot. If it's not making firm contact at the bottom of the nut slot, it's gonna rattle and buzz, and it sounds like shit. So, and it'll hurt your sustain. Here it's fine, but here, for me, I don't know if you can see if I can get the camera to focus a little bit, but here I have many wraps around the string post. To bring the angle down a little bit. And then the string tree itself, you can see the string here is not going under the string tree. So that's a contact point, a friction point that's been completely eliminated. So that's a good thing. You know, you want to eliminate any friction from the Strat. Also, the nut. The nut's you know, it can take years or, you know, less if you want to learn how to do it, but it can take a while to learn how to cut it correctly. And, you know, nut files are definitely an investment for any guitar. Les Paul with a conventional nut. Acoustics go out of tune notoriously, and people play acoustic guitars a lot. I'd say more than electric. And oh shit, I just bent and everything's going out of tune. It's the nut. It's the nut and or the saddle. But the saddle doesn't have much length of string behind it on an acoustic guitar. So that's eliminated. Back to the tremolo. If you don't want to use a file to modify your tremolo, which a lot of people probably wouldn't want to do, and or aren't good with hand tools or working with their hands, I use Big Ben's string tubes. I don't know if you can see under the saddle here. There are these small black plastic tubes, kind of like wire insulation, but it's a firmer plastic, and it literally goes around the string and passes through the tremolo bridge and acts as a I don't know how to explain it, but it allows the string to pass through it without going over a sharp angle. Also, the string itself is not making contact here on the saddle itself. Okay, let's see. On the saddle itself, where these grooves are cut out to allow the string to pass. On Fender trems, though, it will a lot of the time get hung up on that small bit where the cutout is, where this hole is, in the saddle itself. So what I do, actually, on the wound strings, it's fine, because it holds the string in place there. So it allows it only to travel past this point, not here. So it does actually lock it into place here. But for the unwound strings, it creates a big friction point. So on a regular Fender tremolo, like this one, this is just somewhat modified, I would use string tubes here, here, and here on these three saddles, the unwound string. Also, some type of lubricant on every string slot, or in the nut slot, of course, but on every string contact point. Here, where the string hits the saddle, in the tremolo block here, you can put a little bit, definitely in the nut, and on the string tree. That should alleviate all problems. Also, keep the string tight like this with your finger as you're winding it to keep pressure and contact while you're winding the string around the post here. It just, so there's no slack, so when you're tuning or playing, it doesn't, release and then pull, and that it'll loosen some of the tension, it'll go out of tune, of course. Definitely stretch your strings. Obviously, of course, you have to stretch your strings. And Frujua shows how to keep your Strat tremolo in tune. And he's sitting there, and all he does is dive bombs. And he says, dive bomb once, tune, 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 everything. Dive bomb again, tune, tune, tune. And then you dive bomb, and the whole guitar stays in tune because it's sliding over the saddle and then resting in a certain firm place. But anytime you start to bend, it goes right out. Well, that's for an old guitar that hasn't actually had a treatment like this. No lubrication, no nothing. So that'll work. Once you start to bend, you do any leads, you're done. And this one stays in tune after a dive bomb. But even after I pull up, not an issue. So you just need to know what things to look for, what to find. You have to find the problem. And the first place to go is cutting the nut properly. And this is a scallop Strat, like a Malmsteen, with a regular bone nut, conventional style. Nothing crazy, nothing ridiculous, and a basically stock tremolo system. And it stays in tune exceptionally well. You could abuse the tremolo of this guitar live during a set and be pretty confident that it would stay in tune. And a lot of people with Strats, they don't even buy them, or they just lock the tremolo down and lose a very nice feature of the Stratocaster. Granted, Floyd's are great, but I think tonally they seem to be a little bit more flat. There's the peaks in the frequency range are not necessarily the same. It's different. Different is subjective, so it can be a good thing. Lots of players have used locking tremolos to a great extent, but a stock Stratocaster to me looks cool. It looks cool. I mean, with the contour and the arm contour, it gets out of your way and allows you to play and just express yourself, and that's what guitar is. So look at your guitar objectively and fix what needs to be fixed, if there is anything to fix. All right, I guess that's pretty much going to sum up what I'm trying to say. And I just picked this guitar up off of the rack. No modification, I didn't even tune it. My last couple of videos I played this guitar, I played the crap out of it. I put it down, and I haven't tuned it for many days. So that's pretty in tune to me. So don't be scared of a Strat. For young people just getting in guitar, this is into guitar. This could be, you know, a great guitar for them. But a challenge to learn how to set up and to tune. And for even people who have been playing for many years, you know, they never really fully grasp what needs to be done to tune their guitar and to keep it set up. And there's a whole lot of other things, wiring and soldering, and you know, you don't have to be an engineer to do any of that. But normal guitar setup is imperative to learn, especially if you are just beginning. Yeah, you know, don't give up. Anyway, cheers. Keep your guitars in tune.